What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know. Tas, 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 tas. I'm about to get it in. But before I get it in, just right before I push it in, right? Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I highly appreciate your support, man. Thank you. Very humbled by it, right? So, welcome back to another adventure of Super Gunner. And, I tell you all these Superwood stories about the homie Roach. He was a hard wood, man. He was a hard brother to fuck with, right? He was definitely a hard wood, but he wasn't the hardest white man or wood I ever met. That title goes to somebody else, right? That title, indubitably, look, I met a lot of good, solid woods, a lot of good, solid Caucasian men, right? That I've just been like, damn, these motherfuckers are no joke. And anyone who's been locked up in the prison system or even on the streets, man, that has dealt with these white men are of an understanding that, hey, you better watch your back because they are no joke. In my lifetime, I met a lot of solid woods, and of course, Roach being amongst the top tier. But there was another wood as well that I could put in a 2A, right? Before I tell you about the most craziest, solidest, fucking vicious, violent wood I ever met in my life. Ah, man, he was no joke, right? I'm glad I escaped that one. So trip out. When I was in the youth authority, and this is the way it is, no matter how you like it or don't believe it, whatever. This is the facts. The facts are when I, from my perspective, was in the youth authority in Fred C. Nellis in Southern California, right there in the city of Whittier where the girls are prettier, right? The woods were up short, very short. Most of the white guys that I came across were the advantage was getting taken from them and in every different way possible, right? And I used to feel bad for them because there'd be a compa building with like 40 Southsiders, 6 or 7 Northerners, 20, 30 blacks. That's Crips and Bloods, the majority being Crips, right? And like 2 white guys. And one of them was a Crip. The other one wasn't too much of shit, right? He was getting advantage taken of him, beaten up every day. I mean, this was just the law of averages. It was the numbers. It was the numbers game. And, I'm not going to say which particular groups were taking advantage of the wood, but I'm going to tell you it was coming from a lot of different angles. So that was the truth, right? But there was an exception to that rule. If you came in as a wood and you were about your business and you weren't taking no for an answer and you were going to handle your business and stay down for yours, well, then you were going to be embraced by the Southern movement, by the Southsiders. Sur gang, they were going to accept you. But you were going to function up under their wing, meaning you were going to function with them, being your own entity, you're a wood, you're down for your shit, everyone recognizes it. But the Southsiders would allow that wood to eat with them, sit with them, program with them, but they had to program and get down. When all the Southsiders got off, they had to ride with them. And in most cases, they got off first on behalf of the Southsider movement. That's just what I experienced, right? I talked to Dubs about it. He experienced a little bit of the same in Fossil, right? There wasn't a lot of woods. So, like I said, the numbers game never came into play for them. It was more so the opposite, just like, hey, I'm here, I'm down, but guess what, man? I understand it's just me. I need some type of, stability here. Let me go ahead and function with the Southerners. And that's just how that was. They were the one group that allowed them to kick it with them. Now, that don't mean shit, right? That don't mean that they were getting punked or deboed on by the Southsiders or any of that. What that means is they found a group that was willing to basically look out for my head. Is shiny as fuck. Can't look. And it really ain't like that. It's just a light. Let me go ahead and throw this on because I'm shiny over here. So again, you guys are distracted by my headpiece. Should throw a hat on. Anyways, there was this one wood. He did this tattoo right here, this WSM that's all quacked up now. When I was young, about 13 years old in Nellis, his name was Little Man. His last name was Hanks. He was from San Bernardino, i.e., he was a wood, right? And this guy functioned with the Southsiders. And another thing I should put in, when the Woods functioned with the Southsiders, they were no fucking joke. Like the ones that were down, down. I want to go down, right? Them motherfuckers, they were going down, but not on no particular person. They were just down, bad to the bone. And this guy was one of them. And I remember he used to do tattoos, and I ain't gonna lie, I was young, you know what I'm saying, impressionable. I wanted tattoos, I wanted to show off and whatever. And one day I just said, fuck it. Even though I knew he kicked back with the Southsiders and he never talked to Northerners, never gave us a what's up. And I used to always tell the homies, and they used to tell me as well, because I wasn't no shot caller. I used to be like, hey, watch this motherfucker right here. Because if something cracks off with these Southerners, he's probably going to be the one with the knife. They're going to put the knife in his hand. And it was utilizing him. That's just the truth. But for reals, I just knew what time it was. He was down to do that. I had seen him in the school area a few times. And so one day I said, fuck it. I got up the courage. I just walked up to him and I was like, hey, bro. He's like, what's happening? I said, they call you little man? He said, yeah, everyone knew that shit. I just wanted to have a conversation started, right? So I was like, hey, I'm trying to get a tattoo on my hand, bro. I want to get a WSM or whatever. Westheimer, that's where I'm from. He was like, bet. Let me go get my ink and my needles and shit. It was picked by hand, right? He's like, we'll do it right here in the day room. I said, for reals? I said, your homies ain't going to trip. He said, I got no homies here. I said, what about the Southsiders? He said, I'm my own man, bro. I said, shit, until they find out about this tattoo, right? Let me tell you what happened. So I tell the homies, hey, I'm going to get a tattoo by this wood. They're looking at me like, are you crazy? I'm looking at them like, no, you're crazy. I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Whack me if you want. So I went out there, sure enough, boom, boom, boom. He's getting down. Southerners are coming out to the day room and they're seeing it. And they're not saying nothing, but I can see them all huddling and talking. And I'm thinking, damn, me and this white dude are about to be on our own. The Northerners are mad at me. The Southerners are definitely mad at me. And they're mad at him. He finishes the tattoos like, all right, bro, cool, man. I'm like, hey, I'll shoot you a few sopas or something. He said, whatever you want to do. All right, cool. We hadn't discussed payment. So I went down. I had a case of soups. I brought him half a case, right? Usually that was a standard payment for something like that, a half a case of soups. That's half a case. That's a big deal, right? Those that were in YA babies, they know what a half a case is. Or a full case was like big. So it's only like $2, $3, but whatever. So I bring him out the half a case. He's happy. Bam. Southsiders don't want none of his soups. Like, fuck that. You got that from a Northerner. That soup's dicked up. Tell that fool to put his shirt on, right? So I'm over there showing off my tattoo, and the Northerners are like, damn, bro, you're going to get us in a wreck over some stupid-ass tattoo. I'm like, wait, hold up. What do you mean stupid-ass tattoo? Right? But it was a stupid-ass tattoo. It was gang-related. It was dumb, and it was stupid, and it was ugly, and it still is ugly. But anyways, I could see that dude, little man, they had a junta. So we went out to the yard, and I told the Northerners, it just is what it is, man. If you're tripping, you're tripping. But they weren't really tripping because there was very few of us, and it was just like, whatever, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now we got to watch out. Southsides were over there having a junta, and I could see him really telling that dude, little man, what's up? So here comes little man walking up, right? And I already know what it is. I don't wash my hand off. I'm like, okay, we got to catch the fade. I already know, right? So he comes up, and he's like, hey, man, can I get at you? Can I get at you there? I said, yeah, you can get at me. What's up, Wood? He's like, bro, you know I ain't really tripping, but the fellas. I said, well, I thought you was on your own. Yeah, well, seems like I'm going to be on my own even more if we don't go behind the handball court. So I said, fuck it, let's go, right? Now, this was a little stocky, chunky fucking wood. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, I was young and I was skinny and I was intimidated. But I was like, fuck it, man. And I knew these woods were with the business. That's just how they were. The ones that were down were down. So I went to the back of the fucking handball court, and he commenced to putting a whole bunch of hands on top of me, right? And I was doing the offense, defense. Get off me! Fucking I hate people. I was tripping. I was whooping all kinds of high-powered shit, right? And I caught him with a couple good ones, and he caught me with a couple better ones. And I lost that fight. But I held my own as far as my respect, and he held his down as a respect, and the Southsiders embraced him. They're like, you fuck that buster up ass here. And everything was cool. And I could read their list, but I wasn't going to say nothing because fuck it. There was too many of them. And so as I fucking get to washing my hand off because it's scraped up a little bit, I'm thinking, damn, you fucking did a good tattoo and fucked it up. I'm washing my hands. You know, this guy goes to the school area. And so after that, we were kind of cool. We would have conversation. Now it was kind of like, because we had that bond of that tattoo, that bond of almost getting whacked by both our groups, and also that bond of getting down. You'll gain people's respect, especially in the youth authority. When you fight, you kind of gain a little bit of respect. That's like something you guys share. It's like any heads up fade. If you're willing to take a fade with someone, a friendly fade, or even a fade out of animosity, that's why a lot of boxers, they hug at the end. And it's like, once you get that adrenaline, that hatred, that whatever you got going on out is good, right? So anyways, that was that. This motherfucker goes to the school area, and man, day after day after day, them Southerners played him. They told him, yeah, you're good. And he was kicking it. But they told everyone else, every other compa about what he did, that he was fucking with Northerners and shit, man. And every South Sider he ran into was on him. He was catching so many fades. Eventually, he just couldn't do it no more, man. And I literally watched this guy go to his bunk and pull out a piece. And I was like, oh, no. And I told the homies, hey, he got a piece, he got a piece, he got a piece. That fool took that shit to the school area and got to whacking on the South Sider, right? And that was it for him. He was a down dude. Even though he knew that they were on him, he went to school every fucking day and handled his business. That right there was a down-ass wood I met in my life. But he wasn't the one. Nope. Listen here, brothers. You think Hulk Hogan was the shit? Well, Macho Man was just a little bit more better. You dig it, right? There was this dude. And I had been running around with a couple woods, right? Just good white dudes. They were just like, one of them was in prison before, the other one just was on the streets riding a skateboard. But I've been running around with them because they were doing something called running paper. So I don't know if you understand what that is, right? That's when you get payroll checks, you flip them. They were able to use acetone or whatever they used to wash them off, and then they would rewrite them. And they had all these chicks running for them, like going in, cashing these checks and shit. They kept it under a certain amount. Anyways, I somehow slid in with them. I don't even know how I met them. I think I met them through a black dude. Hey, look, here's a couple good woods. All right, cool. But I've been running and gunning with them for about 2 weeks, right? And we were coming up, and I ain't gonna lie, they were on a good one. I was on a good one. I was yayed out the game at that time. Just the truth. I'm stating facts, right? And it was about 1997, man. And we're wiggling through the town of Modesto, right? We're all on the east side airport. That's where a lot of the woods are in Modesto. You can find a lot of woods out there, the east side of airport, right? So that's where we're functioning at. So I'm living in Merced, but I'm sliding back and forth with the homies out there from Modesto, the homies from Four Corners, the homies from OGLs, like all these the homies from the deep south side. Like I'm functioning, fucking with them. And because I had been locked up with like the homeboy Little Man from Modesto, the homeboy fucking there was a gang of homeboys from Old Town, right? Shorty. So we're out there fucking with it. And anyways, we're running this paper, me and these woods. And we got chicks going to Walmart, going to all these places cashing them. And I was like, I wanted to get paid. Like, damn, man, I'm going to keep this amount of money. They're like, hey, we all got to kick in for the big homie. And I'm like, shit, I ain't tapped in with the Northerners on this one. This is my own trip. This is my own personal trip, eh? Right? And they're like, Carlos, come back. This is my own personal trip. I ain't got to pay nobody, right? I'm trying to keep this on the unders, man. Shit, I'm trying to buy more yang and a burrito at the taco truck. You got me fucked up. And they're like, nah, bro, see, we work for someone. This is all his shit. They had like computers and everything laid out. And I'm like, for reals? So this wood comes in. This motherfucker walked in and kept on walking in. He was about 6'8". Straight redwood, brother. Looked like that dude Redwood from the movie Shot Callers. From that movie fucking, the one in Shot Callers where he whacked that seal. You know what I'm saying? Looked just like him. Heard what you did up in there in Chino. Right? That's exactly what he looked like and how he sounded. Big old whip. No lips. All whip. Mustache from the tip of his nose. Hair is growing out of his nose. All the way to his nipples. Just all whip, right? Bald-headed. Tatted back, looked like Bam Bam Bigelow. This motherfucker came in, right? And I just forwarded my money. Like, all right, there you go, brother. Right? And he was like, who's the Mexican? Right? And his boys, they're all tweaked out. They're like, oh, yeah. No, yeah. He's cool, man. That's the homie, man. We got introduced by this guy. I'm still can't remember to this day who introduced me, right? And he was like, so you're a down-ass norteño? I was like, that's how he talked. You're a down-ass norteño? I said, I don't know about down ass because I don't want to involve ass in this whatsoever, especially with that look in your eye. But I mean, I'm considered down or up or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? So he was like, oh, you got a smart mouth. Uh-oh, phone going off. He's like, oh, you got a smart mouth. Let me turn that shit off. And I'm like, nah, I ain't got a smart mouth. Like, shit, you ain't got no mouth. All I see is mustache and fucking mustache moving. So you're a norteño. Have you ever seen the word norteño through a mustache? It looks like this. Right? So that's all I see. So I'm like, nah, bro. And he was like, okay, well, guess what? There's this spot where they burnt us and they're keeping all our paper from us. And I guess he had other crews, right? He's like, I'm going to need you guys to go in there and get that. And I'm thinking, man, I'm fucking with these. What they going to tell me what to do? He was like, if you do it, I'll give you $1,000. I said, now we're talking. And a big old bag of yay. Well, God damn it. We could just keep the motherfucking money out of it. Let's go, right? Let me tell you, he was like, oh, you're not going alone. I'm going with you. I proceeded to watch this 6'8" big white man dog the shit out of like a 6'5" dude, right? I mean, bro, this dude he was massive. He was crazy, right? This fool was in there, give me my shit. I was in that motherfucker like, where's your shit at? I'll take it. I was getting, hey, he was choking this dude so bad, my neck started to constrict. I was like, God, yeah, you can feel the force of that. I couldn't breathe. I was in the motherfucker, scared of the motherfucker. I ran, gathered up computers and shit. There's a little home invasion type thing, you know what I'm saying? Statute of limitation, too long ago. But anyways, we're getting what we got to get right, and we're up out of there. And this dude right here, me and him became good-ass friends. He's like, I like you, man. You're a little down-ass Norteño, and you're fast. I said, fast at what? Fast at going in and going out. I said, I'm not trying to get caught. From then on, me and this dude were doing our thing, man. He was the homie. He was like, he would always call me like, you want to make some money? Hell yeah. And hey, I ain't gonna lie, when you walk through the Modesto Mall or anywhere with a 6'8" fucking white man that looks like him, brothers was like, they be talking shit like, oh yeah, man, that motherfucker, whoa, fuck, that's a big ass white boy, right? That's exactly what they say when we walk past. I'm like, yep, yeah, he is, and he'll kill you straight up. So, anyways, what ends up happening with him is this: he ends up getting a violation, getting locked up. He was on parole, just like we all were, right? And I'm wiggling with the other two guys, kind of like just distance myself, forget about them, and I'm start fucking with the homeboys, and they're like into that running the paper. Everybody was doing that shit. So I'm like, hey, bro, I know where there's a whole bunch of computers. Like a scandalous fucking individual. I'm like, hey, this fool's locked up. He's doing a violation. We can go over here and get some shit, right? And I'm thinking, we'll just borrow it. His pad was like empty. We'll go take all this fucking computer shit. We'll use that to do what we do. We'll put it back. And the homies ain't trying to put shit back. They're like, fuck this white dude, right? I'm like, nah, bro. You understand? It's a good motherfucker right here. They're like, he ain't here, though. So he ain't that good. I said, yeah, you ain't lying. He really isn't, right? So we ended up going to my tia's house. We're going to run it up out of my tia's house. So I remember knocking on the door. My tia's like, what the fuck do you want, stupid ass? And she said, why you got these fat? I don't fucking know these guys. I don't know. Do you eat pussy or what? And my homeboy's like, what? And she's scaring the shit out of him. Because I don't fucking allow people. Look, smell it at least. Take a sniff. If you like it, come in. If you don't, we'll stay on the porch, bitch. They're like, damn, your tia's ruthless. I said, yeah. You fuck around, she'll be toothless. You be toothless fucking with her. So I'm like, yeah, boo. I run her down. Rick said, Whoopin, what do you got right there? He's young still. Get your ass in the room, bro, and fucking tie that red paño on right. So we actually go in a back room that's back there, right? In my tia's room. She has like the cuts. We're fucking doing whatever, right? Well, guess what? The white dude tracked us down. Well, he tracked my phone number down, right? I had one of those old flip phones, the Motorola. Phone's ringing and ringing and ringing. I'm like, what the fuck? This ain't caller ID time. This is just a number right there. What up? He's like, tell me you got my shit. I said, who's this? He said, this is Barry. That was his name, Barry, right? I said, what up, Wood? Fuck that Wood shit. Tell me you got my shit, or I'm going to have to kill everything moving in Modesto. I was like, what do I do here? Do I tell him I got his shit? Because I stole it, right? I got a grand scheme, grand master plan. I'm like, yeah, bro, I got your shit. I had to go over there because I see some people just cruising by your pad. I thought they were going to break in, so I took it all to my tia's house. Where's your tia live? I said, well, why do you need that information? He goes, because I need to come pick up my shit. I said, oh, okay, yeah, my tia lives in Gustine. Where the fuck's that at? I said, it's over here by fucking who knows where, right? I ended up giving him the address. He slides. He's looking at my homeboys. My homeboys are in mid fucking trying to copy some shit, and they're looking like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to need all my shit. My tia says, these fuckers burned you. I'm like, tia. Yeah. And Ricky's like, you want better to see a Southsider? No, that's a big fucking white guy. I'm going. Yeah, go. Even Sheila came out to get a corn dog, seen him, and went back in. You know what I'm saying? I think she wanted his corn dog. I don't know. But my tia's on him. She was like, you look like John Travolta. She's all tripped out. So he did look like John Travolta. He looked like a big old fucking bald John Travolta from the movie fucking, what is it? The Gambino family. Gotti. So anyways, he comes in. I start packing the shit up like, yeah, bro, I had it. He's like, oh, that's right, little homie. That's right. Jams, right? My homies are like, man, I didn't know the wood was that big. I said, I told you, motherfucker. That's why I was skeptical about this shit. He leaves. Later on, I get a phone call. He's like, hey, you and your homeboys come to my pad, bro. He's like, I'm going to hook you guys up for looking out for me. Well, guess what? He figured out somehow, some way that wasn't the lick. Maybe his back door was kicked in. Man, when we got to his house, there was some other skinny-ass woods there, man, that looked wild as fuck. And this dude was like, so this is what's going to happen. And I sat my ass down in that chair, and he was like, you broke into my pad and stole my shit. I was like, I told you I was holding it for you. And he looked right in my eyes, and he goes, this is what's going to happen. Tomorrow, part 2, you find out what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you guys right now, it isn't what you think. I'm here by the skin of my buck teeth. That's a fact. This video is sponsored by Vario Liquors out there in Turlock, California, which is pretty close to Modesto, which is the field I ended up in. But we'll get to that tomorrow, man. Make sure if you're ever in Turlock, California, you tap in at the Vario Liquor stores, man. Also, this video is sponsored by Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in AZ. Google them, look them up, and go get your shit edged off smooth. Wait for part 2. It's wild.